Hello and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. Producer Chris once again behind the scenes as this is our final live regular season show that's not a watch party. Because after this one, it's then playoff live shows and then off-season live shows whenever that one goes down. So happy to have you guys here. We'll break down the latest Cowboys news, rumors, etc. more here. Injuries will be a big part of today's show. How worried are you right now about the Cowboys' current injuries? The one that really stands out, of course, is Tyler Smith and that torn plantar fascia. How worried are you? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. I see 6. I see 4. Yes, Kyle and Bubba J, they did sign SaRodorick Thompson, who's part of the new practice squad additions that came through as well. 3, 6.9, 7, 5, 2, a lot of 6.9s, which I very much appreciate from that perspective. Makes things entertaining. 6, 4, 4, 5 in there as well. Let's see, 5, 6, 6.9. A lot of 6.9s, which A, I think is about right. And B is also very, very entertaining. Now, the pin poll on today's video, and yes, we will continue to talk about it. Do you want to add Dalvin Cook? S for sign, P for pass. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section. Whether or not Dalvin Cook made it through waivers should be known any minute here. I would mostly anticipate him being able to go from that perspective. We'll keep an eye on it there. Chris, injury updates for you, by the way. Chuma Adoga is now battling illness, so we'll throw that in there. And I'm going to have you change all those to 6 weigh-ins. And Chauncey Golston added to the injury illness group. So change that graphic to 8 for both preview and... All right, I've got it. Hold on. There you go. 8s on that front. So everything else mostly the same there for Dallas on the injury front, which Dorance Armstrong heading in the wrong direction when it comes to injuries. So we'll see how that one goes from that perspective. Everyone else stayed flat as pretty much expected previously, which we'll again break down in depth here momentarily. We should know the Dalvin Cook status in the not too distant future in terms of if he was claimed on waivers. I don't think he's going to get claimed. So we'll see how that all pans out there. I like Al's line. Adoga fighting illness because he makes us sick to watch film. It's entertaining. It's entertaining. All right, do you want to sign Dalvin Cook? S for sign, P for pass. It's the pin poll as well, so you can vote. 70% saying yes. We will get into Hankins and Dowdle here as part of today's show. I wouldn't be too worried about either guy. Hankins has been limited the past 2 days, which was the good sign for him. Dowdle was upgraded to full today. So Dowdle's good to go. He seems to be probably better than he's been the past few weeks, which is, I think, again, a positive thing for the Dallas Cowboys on that front. So keep the votes coming. S for sign, P for pass. Get to our sponsor here momentarily. Malik Davis on the practice squad, Iceman. He's not eligible right now, but I believe they reset for the postseason, I think. I got to double check that one, but we'll check in on that here later on for playoff purposes on that perspective. About cheapness for signing Dalvin Cook, guys. He's going to be incredibly expensive because he's getting cut by the Jets because he's bad. It's a matter of, do you think he's a beneficial piece for you? Let's get the sub or the ad set up here. S's from Xenaholic, Grant Rainwater, Eddie, Easy Does It, Roy Fowler. Neighbors PTA says pass, though. Don Jones, Bubba J, all typing in their S's for sign. We will spend more time on Dalvin Cook, and I feel confident saying it'll be a big part of the Q&A, knowing how the comment section normally operates. But today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets to your next big sporting event. Don't be the guy who is scrambling and panicking to find Cowboys playoff tickets. Instead, just use Game Time. It's simple. It's easy. Killer last-minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CowboysChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but create your account. Go to the bottom right, you'll see profile. Click profile on the app. You'll see that a spot that says redeem code. Go there, plug in COWBOYSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. They've got flash deals, by the way, which can save you 10% or more on tickets. There were some, I'm not sure if they're still available, for the NFC wildcard round, which the Cowboys will host as long as they just take care of business against the Commanders this weekend. So download the app today, create your account at GameTime.co, and use promo code CowboysChat for $20 off your first purchase. Now, the Cowboys Pro Bowler list has come out. 7 players in total. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Martin, Micah Parsons, Deron Bland, and Brandon Aubrey, all, I think, very deserving of it overall. Who was the biggest Cowboys Pro Bowl snub? Sound off in the comments section. Who do you think deserved to get in, yet did not get in the way you think they should have deserved to for the Pro Bowl? Knowing it's the Pro Bowl and it's a bad process, it always has been. I remember the one year Xavier Rhodes was a Pro Bowler despite getting benched basically in Minnesota. I think there are 2 obvious answers for me, and that's pretty much everyone's saying. DeMarcus Lawrence, the Pro Bowl heavily goes on sack numbers for pass rushers, right? So I'm not surprised he got left out. I think his play absolutely has been worthy of being a Pro Bowler. And I think Tyler Smith is another one that could have been in the conversation and probably should have been in the conversation. He missed some time early. I think that might have hurt him a little bit. I also had been a little bit surprised if the the Pro Bowl and the voters said, you know what? Yes, we will go ahead and give both guard spots to the Cowboys. It's not normally how they tend to do things there. I think they make a strong move for Tyron Smith, too, because your issues on the offensive line have A, been health, and B, your center and right tackle spots not played all that well this year. I also really find it funny how, if you ever paid, they tweaked it a little bit, but Pro Bowl voting used to be for offensive line. It was sorted by alphabetical, so people would not scroll to vote. They just pick somebody because they don't get everyone off the line. So the A's and B's would always be super high from that perspective. Trent Sig is a decent one. Again, I don't think they're going to give it to all 3. Also, it's the long snapper, so as long as you don't have a bad snap, you're fine in the end. I think just Hurts being snubbed was funny. Hurts wasn't snubbed. I genuinely, the NFL and the Pro Bowl group almost got the quarterbacks right. Dak and Purdy, no complaints there. Stafford should have been over Hurts this year. He's been better. Despite his receivers being banged up a bunch and him missed a game too. Hurts has been kind of shaky this year. Stafford's been really good, especially on film. He's been awesome. AFC, they almost got right. Tua, yes. Lamar, obviously. They should have put Allen in over Mahomes, which is weird because it's Mahomes and he's the MVP, right? But it's not how it does. Neighbors, Micah Parsons on anything this year, but he still made it. But yes, he has. What? Yes, he has. At 13 sacks and leads the NFL in pressures. He's one of the most dynamic, impactful players in the game. Come on now. All right, what is your confidence level in beating the Commanders in NFL Week 18 to win the NFC East and continue the curse of there not being any repeat division winners, which could very well continue until further notice, frankly. What's your confidence level? 1 to 10, 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end, 10, 8, a 2. Wow, Rashard's feeling real negative on it. 9, 8, 2, 8, 8, 6.9, 8, 9, 7, 7, 100%, 9, 7.5, 7, 7, 9, 9, 7, 169, 28, 9.5, 11, 10, 5, 10, 9.69. Yeah, I'm pretty high. I'm pretty high on that front. All right, Chris Shiesty. Do you think Dallas should get a defensive back or wide receiver? I wouldn't anticipate a giant jump up. Remember, they are actually very light on draft capital this year. Now, if it's a spot or two, perhaps. If a guy that they love is surprisingly falling, I think there's decent depth in the class. I'm thinking like round 1 is your answer here. So no, I wouldn't anticipate a trade up. It's been a while since they did that in a draft. You will have the report of Jerry Jones wants to make a splash in the draft. Happens every single year, and they never do it. Frankly, I think just taking the top offensive lineman would be a really good idea because that's worked really well for them in recent history. So we shall see. Long ways off from the draft. We will have you guys covered, though, right here on the channel. Now, can we get to 100 likes to start today's show? We're almost to 69. We're at 300-plus people watching, so the numbers are hovering around in that area. It should be possible. Appreciate a bunch of you, of course, have already liked the video. It's a good habit to be in. Keeps things easier for us, allows us to continue to grow, continue to be the most watched Cowboys YouTube channel out there outside of the actual Cowboys YouTube channel. But that's different. That feels like cheating. So if you haven't already, please like the video and get in the habit of always liking our stuff here at the Cowboys Report. 100 likes, there it is. Thank you so much. Coming up on today's live show, some Cowboys news and rumors, injury stuff, a big part of that. A Cowboys mailbag. You can answer your questions here on the show by just, using hashtag Cowboys or doing whatever it is you need to do to get on there. Hashtag Cowboys puts in the queue. Does require producer Chris to pick your question and choose to go to it in the end. Or just super chat. Skip the line altogether. We will also have a Dallas Cowboys preview for you guys on today's show against the Commanders. They're kind of our normal matchup stuff, etc. So make sure you guys have liked the video and you are ready and locked and loaded for the entirety of today's live show. Let's get into the latest Dallas Cowboys news and rumors. We will begin with injury updates. The Cowboys just sent out their Thursday injury participation report. Here's where we sit. Dorance Armstrong going in the wrong direction. Ankle injury was limited on Wednesday, did not participate today. His status very much in doubt. There is a potential new contender to help out there. We'll get to that in a little bit. Rico Dowdle heading in the right direction from limited to full with his ankle injury. Seems like he is very healthy. Jonathan Hankins, limited once again. I like the route he is trending. Tyler Smith, a foot injury. The plantar fascia, I'd be shocked if he played. I know what Big Mike said, I'd be shocked. Wanye Thomas, Malik Hooker, kind of, sort of as well. He's got an ankle and an illness. Chuma Adoga and Chauncey Golston, all sick. By the way, there was a sickness in the Chat Sports office this week, and once again, illness strikes the Dallas Cowboys. It remains true. So I'm not worried about those guys. Illness should be good to go. Hooker's been coming off his own ankle, so I think it's more the illness side. We'll know more Friday, Saturday on those 4 guys on the right. Now, perhaps in part because of this Dorance Armstrong ankle injury, but the work was already in the process here. Viliami Fehoko is back on the active roster. He has not played a snap this game in a regular season matchup, or this year, I should say, in a regular season matchup. Now back from injured reserve. He had been working his 21-day window there after his knee injury is what they called it. To make room for Fehoko, they put Deuce Vaughn on IR. And it's not a Dalvin Cook thing or whatever. That is a Rico Dowdle is now healthy. We feel good about that spot. We needed and wanted the extra defensive end depth since Vaughn was really only going to play in the event of extra injuries at offensive or on the offensive side of the football, since Turpin's your main return man. Dowdle, meanwhile, seems to be much healthier. He missed last week with the ankle injury. I thought there would maybe been a bit of a setback. Maybe it was more of a cautious thing of just give him more time to get healthy. Sounds like he's doing much better, and I don't think Dallas would have put Vaughn on IR and gone even thinner if they weren't going to have Dowdle good to go. Hankins, meanwhile, I think has a very real chance of playing. He's missed the last 2 weeks with a high ankle sprain. He might be on a pitch count, by the way. Might be more of a, hey, he's going to play 10, 15 snaps against the Commanders and see how he responds and have him good to go for the rest of the postseason. I would not expect Tyler Smith to play. I know that the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy are keeping the door open, saying, hey, he's week to week. You bring in Lyle Collins, more on that. give him some reps at left guard immediately, which I found very interesting and certainly worth discussing that we'll have here momentarily. I don't think he's going to play. I think it's far more likely that he sits out this week, and then we see if he's able to go against in the playoff round, which I think there is a chance of that happening. So overall, how worried are you about the Dallas Cowboys injuries right now? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1, the low end, 10, the high end. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. There were several practice squad moves made yesterday afternoon / this morning is when they were all announced. La'el Collins, Damien Wilson, the obvious ones there. Worth noting, Collins began today practicing at left guard. Now, when the Cowboys had cut him, there was don't know if he can play left guard anymore with the hip injury. Hip's probably, in theory, doing better now. I wonder if this was let's see if he can do left guard. I'm curious if does he stay at left guard tomorrow? Does he work at right tackle? Where does he work out? Did you try him at left tackle a little bit in case of Tyron Smith's injury? So I'm very curious where he works, if it's at left guard or he gets a little bit of everything there. If I were them and I want to see how he was doing, I'd probably start him at left guard too, just to see that can he still move the way he used to. Seems like, of course, the workout went well. Damien Wilson in. I think that means no Rashaan Evans. That's my takeaway. And then 2 other players also added to the practice squad. First up is Racey McMath, an elite name, by the way. This is a 4.36 40-yard draft, which was very, he's a fast player, mainly offers special teams value, which I don't think he's going to play a lot right now, but McMath is a very, very fast and sized player. Now, I think McMath and Thompson are probably a little bit more of what we call the futures deals players. Guys that, are not going to make an impact probably this year, but could fight for a roster spot this time next year. Those are some more youthful players the Cowboys chose to add in Thompson and McMath. Again, not really anticipating a bunch of impact from those guys early on. Now, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute tickets. Who here has had an annoying time trying to buy a ticket? Whatever chaos you deal with there. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, theater, and events near you. We've got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. They've got deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, even an hour after it starts, in case you're making a last-minute decision to go to whatever. Although everyone at the Cowboys wildcard game, probably buy those now and don't necessarily wait until after an hour it starts. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code CowboysChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create your account and redeem code COWBOYSCHAT for $20 off. The promo code and the link to GameTime.co will be in the comments section and the description of today's video. We appreciate Game Time sponsoring us here at the Cowboys Report. On now to the players who were cut from the practice squad. So it was very funny when we were doing our live La'el Collins signs video because we were already live for it. And I was like, no one cares if you cut Adam Pankey. People are like, you're throwing shade at Pankey. Why is he catching strays? Well, he ended up getting cut. Elite name Willington Previlon cut as well because they don't need the defensive tackle with Fehoko now healthy, by the way. 2 receivers also, Coach, I think speaks to how this team feels overall about its wide receiver depth, knowing they had to cut a veteran to make room for both Wilson and Collins. Can only carry 6. Tyron Billy-Johnson is gone. And the Martavis Bryant era ends in a very short period of time as these 4 join the list of Cowboys legends. You can spam that in the comment section. Basically every week we were like, where's Martavis Bryant? And my answer was, guys, it's a flyer. Who knows if he'll be able to do anything? You brought him in just to see how it went. And the answer was, not that great. Bryant hasn't played a real football game in 5 years now. 2018, back end of it, the 2019, the 2020, the 2021, 2022 through 2023. It's been over 5 years since he played a real football game. Like, they brought him in, said, you know what, size, speed, let's see how he fares. And the answer was, well, he wasn't very good. That's why they cut him. This is one where you kind of got to trust the team who sees him every day, knows what he would be able to help, if anything. So are you mad about cutting Martavis Bryant? In the end, it did turn out to be more of an Antonio Callaway impact. Why for yes and for no in the comments section. The expectations, I tried to warn you, they should always be low when you're making mid-season practice squad moves. Even your biggest one, which was Rashaan Evans, isn't on the team anymore. Now, the Cowboys got to see him every day. We never got to see him in a game. Like, there's nothing that we can be like, hey, we watched the film and everything. It's like, hey, he was good in the games. He didn't play in any games. This is one of those you kind of got to trust them on this one. I know we're all mad at Gallup, but I'm not convinced Bryant was going to suddenly change everything and make it better on the receiving corps. Yeah, he's fast and big, but that's not everything to playing wide receiver. Now, our goal is 181K subs before Sunday's coverage. It's a stretch goal, but always entertaining. If you haven't already, please hit that sub button for more free Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos. Let's move in here on the Dalvin Cook situation. Cleared waivers today after the Jets cut him. I actually will make note, as we film this live, hasn't officially cleared waivers, hasn't been reported of it. Expectation is he's going to. So sneaky background info, if he doesn't clear waivers, we're going to change this entire video. The Cowboys have they've been linked to Cook. It's been speculation of, they're going to do their due diligence. The Cowboys could be interested. They could maybe explore it, which is just like qualifier city. And also, how many times have we seen the Cowboys say, we're doing our due diligence, and it leads nowhere? Normally, these moves tend to come in a little bit more out of nowhere. Pretty clear Cook wants to play for a contender because that's the only way to play a game again the rest of the season. My expectation is if and when he signs somewhere, it'd be the practice squad. And then you can call him up to the game day roster if that's a route you wanted to go, whether Dallas or somebody else altogether. So do you want to add Dalvin Cook? There's more on this to come. S for sign or P for pass in the comments right now. I think Dalvin Cook's camp wants his name linked to as many playoff teams as possible. Baltimore, Miami. I saw San Francisco linked, even though they're going to have McCaffrey healthy and everyone else. It's just link him to everybody. And that way you generate as much more, which is smart work by the agents. The big issues for Dalvin Cook is not that your ground game's so great you don't need him, which, to be fair, it's predominantly been a scheme and an offensive line issue more than it is even the running backs involved there, which was also the case in New York. New York's offensive line was very poor. Even on some of the more independent numbers for Dalvin Cook, they weren't very good. 3.2 yards per carry on 67 carries. He had nothing longer than I believe was 14 yards so far this season. He used to be a really great dynamic outside zone runner, which, by the way, Dallas does not run that. Dallas is like 28th in outside zone attempts this year. So the schematic fit is a pretty massive question mark for Dalvin Cook at this stage. The advanced numbers are really bad. Among qualifying players, the first 5 stats here are from Super Sports, and the last one is from Pro Football Focus. Dead last in EPA per rush. Third to last in success rate. Third to last in explosive play rate. Did do a decent job of avoiding TFLs, which actually makes me more concerned because, okay, that means you're not just getting hit in the backfield a bunch and losing yards. It's just that your overall is not very good. Second to last in yards created, i.e. down and distance everything, how much did you maximize your runs? Not good. Second to last in yards after contact. Someone tried to tell me he was a power back. No, he's not. That's not Dalvin Cook's game at all. The rushing yards over expected, he does not qualify for that this year. When he did, he was near the bottom. Everything going in the wrong direction. He was awesome in 2020. Still good in 2021. Below average went through that. This is why the Vikings moved on from him, because he was expensive and the decline was beginning to set in. And it now reared its head in even a more extreme way than I thought it would in New York. Before we go, the Cowboys Pro Bowlers this season. Several players making the list this time around for the Dallas Cowboys. So plenty of congratulations to them this season. Dak Prescott, of course, getting in. That's not exactly a surprise. CeeDee Lamb making it. Zach Martin making it. Micah Parsons getting in. Deron Bland. And both your specialists, Brandon Aubrey and Brian Anger, making it as Cowboys Pro Bowlers this season. No Tank Lawrence, no Tyler Smith. Who do you think is the biggest Pro Bowl snub this year for the Dallas Cowboys? Sound off for me in the comment section right now. We'll give some shout-outs here on this list and mention who else got, could have gotten in. Real answer only, by the way. No trolling answers, please and thank you. Although it's fun. Stephon Gilmore, again, tough to see him put both corners in. Not fair, but that's how it goes. Tyron Smith, Tyler Smith, both very good answers there. I think DeMarcus Lawrence is a really good answer, too. Let's see. Deuce Vaughn. Now, that one I'll give a shout-out for because it's part of the meme. By the way, Derrick Henry was not available at the trade deadline. Speculatively, he was. Allegedly, Tennessee said no, the owner shot down a trade. Allegedly. So, Cooks, D-Law. Now, this is what I get for saying no trolling answers. They've all been trolling answers. Turpin probably not, but he made it last year when, frankly, I don't think he deserved it. But hey, you know what? It was good for him. Back-to-back years, the Cowboys have had a former USFL player take the award. Or to take up a Pro Bowl spot, I should say. Definitely not J-Ron Kearse. No, not him. That's just all trolling now, which is great. Now we're just naming Cowboys legends like Jameel Showers. It's just funny. All right, mailbag time coming up here on the show. So we'll get to Tyler Madden and Chris B. and Chris Sheisty's and Marcus Arnold super chats here momentarily. So that'll be part of the mailbag. So either super chat like those guys did, or skip the line altogether via the super chat, or just use hashtag Cowboys in the comments. If you do hashtag Cowboys, does require producer Chris to pick your question and bring it up on screen, so you're at the mercy of the man who rigs every race we do here. Kidding. You guys sound like Lions fans complaining it's rigged in those scenarios. It's a mailbag answering your questions. We give some super thanks here, comments that come in on demand, and just like super chats, we give them credit to. Mighty Ant, Happy New Year, Tom, and Nody Gang. Everyone before the Nody game. What's your ideal draft for them boys? I got to see who turns pro. I got to see how your season plays out. Maybe some free agent stuff. Good news is this will be a video. Ideal draft class or ideal draft plan, an off-season plan, it is planned to be done and will be done here on the show later on in the offseason. So I can't answer it now, but instead of a 30-second sound clip on a mailbag, it'll be an entire video for you, my friend. So make sure you are subscribed, just like Mighty Ant is. Free Cowboys videos all season and off-season long right here on the show. AF Guy 79. So we've been talking about McCarthy's play calling. Has Dak forgotten how to check out of plays? Surely smart enough to know we need to run the clock out, right? I think he's just as culpable as Mike. So I do think it's fair to say, yeah, your quarterback should do the right thing and make the call and save your bad head coaching play call. I am also this belief. A, we know that Dak checks a lot, especially at home. There is a lot of adjustments, and they kind of didn't check as much early on this year. That was one of the adjustments they made at the bye was we're going to do more checks at the line, where Dak is very, very competent, very good there. I also take the general mindset of if the answer, the solution, is to quarterback just save you and do it all, that probably means you actually have a head coaching issue. And that, banking on the quarterback saving everything, when he's not Tom Brady, is probably setting yourself up for failure as a team. But, yes, and Dak even took some blame postgame for it, too, against the Lions. He can do more there in that area. From Marcus Arnold, $5. Trade all the picks and next year's one for the number 2 spot and take Marvin Harrison Jr. Here's the crazy part. it's not enough. You can trade every pick this year and your first next year, and you're not going to get to number 2 because A, you're paying quarterback premium there. Like number 2 is going to be like the Commanders. Let's say it's number 3 and it's the Cardinals. They're not going to pass on Marvin Harrison Jr. for pick 30 whatever, and a late second, a late third, no 4th, comp 6th, and a 7th. They're not going to do that. So it's a fun idea because you're right. Harrison's the best prospect in this year's class, but you're not going to be able to get up there. Chris Shiesty, if Gallup gets traded, who will the Cowboys trade for? A, not convinced he's going to. It might just be a cut because he hasn't been that good. I would also say maybe Dallas just drafts somebody in a good receiver class and lets him and Tolbert compete for the wide receiver 3 job. You're going to have to pay Lamb. You're going to keep Cooks on a fairly affordable deal and pay him. I don't think they want to invest another contract at the wide receiver spot since I think they have regrets about doing it with Gallup and they didn't want to do it with Amari. Not saying I agree, but I think that's how the Cowboys would operate. All right, Darius Carter. Should Dallas have Trey Lance active this week? I don't think they will. Had you had nothing to play for this week, like had you lost and the Eagles won, I'd have started Trey Lance. But I think because you're fighting for the NFC's title, and knock on wood, hopefully this doesn't happen, something bad happens to your quarterback, you'd actually probably want to get rushed the reps then for the backup spot. So I don't think that will be the plan for the Dallas Cowboys. But what would you do? Would you plan to play at least Trey Lance against the Commanders? Maybe, it's a tight game and you can't do it, but would you want to have that option in your back pocket? Type P for you'd play him, S for you'd sit him. Tyler Madden, a super chat. Do you trust RB, an NFL record 64-plus game winner? I think he has the leg for it. I would also say, as great as our alien has been, spam the emoji in the comments section, I don't think you could trust anybody for a 64-plus game winner. Like, your odds of making that are very, very low. Not saying impossible. If I had to rank the kickers, he'd be top 2 with Justin Tucker, but that is still a lot to ask for any kicker. Chris B. Lyle Collins will take guard on Thursday. Thoughts? Interested by it. Adds more credence to the theory of this move was made because they want extra offensive line depth in light of the Tyler Smith injury. It's interesting because there was enough whispers and buzz and the Cowboys didn't think he could play left guard. They were even conflicting reports going into that of who knows where he's going to play, is going to be tackle or guard. I wonder if this is them testing. And I'm very curious what happens on Friday and Saturday and whatever, and even into the week after the Commanders game. Where does he play? Are they experimenting him at left guard and then going to try right tackle to see how it's all going? Or is the plan he is your break in case of emergency left guard option? Could very well be true. I'm excited to see where else it goes. As far as practice squad players go, it's one of the more intriguing ones, I think, this year, outside of Joe Flacco in the NFL. Now, today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. Prize Picks it's the largest independently owned DFS platform in North America. Can mix and match sports, by the way, NFL and NBA, NFL and the college football national championship game as well. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. I'm riding again with the Dak Prescott passing yards more than. Does give me anxiety because this game should be over by halftime. But I also love Rachaad White and Kenneth Walker more than rushing yards. Not great run defenses they're playing in games their teams have to win. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Chris B., are you as scared as some fans playing the Rams? I'm not. I think this whole, I'd rather play the NFC South winner than the, Rams or whoever they're scared of. Like, I think for one game, sure, I think you make that argument. It is so short-sighted. Are we really worried about just winning one game? Or are we trying to do more than that? Because the theory is like, oh, well, if you beat the Bucs and the Rams are going to win, okay, so you're banking on other teams taking care of business for you. That's what we're saying. No, I want to be at home. Find me one NFL player who thinks, you know what, I would rather travel and go on the road than sleep in my own bed the night before a game. Doesn't exist. Look, the Rams are a good team. I'm not trying to slight them or anything. Give me the home games. Like, if you can't beat the Rams at home, you got to fire your head coach anyway. The Great Duke Bothers. Should the Cowboys sign Earl Thomas? Happy 2024. Bottoms up to you, my friend. They used to only answer Earl Thomas questions if they were super chats because there were so many of them. David Beat. Will Lyle Collins take Terrence Steele's job? Well, we did the report earlier today of Collins starting his work at left guard. I don't know if he's still going to get some run at right tackle, if that was let's start him there and then work him in another spot day 2, or if the plan is to make him your emergency option at left guard. There would be a unique irony to Terrence Steele stealing Collins' job, Collins getting cut, and then after Steele gets paid, Collins coming in and stealing the job from him. It's the Simpsons meme of throwing the guy out the bar and then he's right behind him again. So pick a right tackle. LC for Lyle Collins, TS for Terrence Steele. It's definitely Steele for now, but how long will that last? Can he get back on track? Go vote in the comments section. Ecuador Man AOG, would you draft Keon Coleman if he falls, or offensive line? I'd want to see what offensive linemen are there, but I would strongly consider Keon Coleman. Now, he's not the burner that I would like to add more of at wide receiver, but he's a really good football player. And to show you how bad Michigan State's passing game was, that they had Keon Coleman and Jaden Reed together, and the quarterback transfers to Auburn and is terrible. I like Coleman a lot. I don't think he's there, but again, crazy stuff happens. Good offensive line class, too. There should be a good player for you in the back end of round 1. Chris B., I'm excited for the playoffs. With the number 2 seed, this is our best chance at an NFC championship game. Also, if Mike fails, at least you might get a new coach. I don't disagree with that. You play better at home, very clear. It's also easier to play at home. And I don't think my path is easy as possible. I would love it if there's no upsets in the opening, round, or maybe there's one upset and the Rams or whoever goes to play the Niners and the Rams upset San Francisco. Not to play them at all. It'd be a great thing if you can take care of your own business. It's the postseason. We're not going to do this ridiculous of, that playoff game doesn't count, which has been used. No, it's a playoff game. They're all tough to win. That's what you're playing, good teams in the postseason, guys. So yes, I am excited, Chris. Chris is obviously not doing that. I'm ranting about other people there, but I am excited. I think we all are. So if you like our Cowboys Report mailbags, I just saw a like and went full on robot there. Make sure you are subscribed for more free Dallas Cowboys YouTube videos. Hit that sub button right now. From CD Bam, I think this is what we're going for here. What college running backs would you draft this year? Depends on where you want to draft them. It is not a strong at the top class for running backs, and that's actually okay. Drafting a running back super early is kind of like paying a running back early. I don't like doing it. I like Trey Benson from FSU a lot. I don't know if you got to take him in the second round. I would love to wait till the third or fourth round to take somebody. I don't know what to make of Jonathan Brooks come off the ACL to that we won't know more about that one until post combine and maybe even beyond that there. Braylon Allen could be a nice thunder if you want to go that route there. Cody Schrader's small but thick. He's fun. Ray Davis had a great year for Kentucky. I don't want to spend a premium pick on a back, but I think it does make sense. My theory has always been, fourth round, take a running back each year and just shuffle them all out and don't pay them and spend your more premium assets on the offensive line. Daniel M., I think signing Dalvin Cook on the cheap is the right move for the Cowboys because we're dealing with injuries on Rico and Vaughn. Remember, they were only, first off, Cook did clear waivers, by the way. They're only dealing with an injury to Vaughn right now. And even the Vaughn, I think it's a Vaughn injury. I don't think he's actually hurt that bad. He was not active unless Dowdle was hurt. Dowdle's now good to go. And you guys might not believe me, Dowdle's a better player than Dalvin Cook. Now, the practice squad caveat always remains open, but Pollard and Dowdle and Cook are all better, and your third running back has to play special teams or block, and Lipke kind of fills that role for you, and you want to pass it more anyway. So, like, practice squad, sure, fine. That's not really a big issue, I suppose, in the end. But I'm not trying to give Dalvin Cook a bunch of touches because he hasn't been good this season. From Big Nooch, 69. This Ben DiNucci's burner account. Is Rashaan Evans going to come back? I think the move to add Damien Wilson says no. I'm old enough to remember the war on Cowboys, Twitter and social media over the release of Rashaan Evans, who wasn't playing that much for you anyway. So, are you upset the Cowboys cut Rashaan Evans? I was surprised because there's no depth along the offensive line. Or the linebacking core, excuse me. Why for yes and for no, sound off in the comments section. From Chris B. Think it's NFC Championship game or bust for McCarthy with the 2 seed. I kind of want to see how it all plays out, like the how if he doesn't get there. I will say this. This is where Jerry Jones wants to be. He wants to be a 10 to 12 win team every year, be in the NFC Championship conversation, be in the NFC East conversation, and have playoff games. And they've done that every year with the healthy Dak and Mike McCarthy. I don't know if he would be willing enough to take what would be a gamble on potentially being way worse to elevate that expectation, even though it's what we want to do. From some guy, how much the defense have to improve to be a Super Bowl contender? The defense has been disappointing, and like the defense we had last year. I think you need to adopt a bit of a gash or B-gash approach. They did against the Lions. I thought they played the points look very similar. I thought they were way better against Detroit than they were against Miami on defense. I think you have to get splash plays. Tackles for loss, sacks, forced fumbles, interceptions. I think those things, with the way this defense is built, would be a very positive thing and would give me some confidence if you remain aggressive on offense, Mike McCarthy. From Maffey, do we draft a tackle and move Tyler Smith to guard, or draft a guard and keep Tyler at tackle? And what if Tyron doesn't want to retire? I think I would really push Tyron to be your swing tackle, is what I would do, because he's not going to play every game. At some point, you have to operate with him as a luxury, not as an absolute, which they have not done very well the past 6 years, whatever. My answer is take the best one in the draft. If that's a guard, do that. If it's a tackle, do that. And then you have the flexibility to go either route and then make your call with Tyler Smith. Back to some playoff conversation here. Who do you want to play in the wild card round? Ideally, who would it be? Wouldn't mind playing the Vikings. I think it's basically impossible that happens. They need a bunch of help for it to go down. We will track that during our live watch party, but by the way. TKG says someone at home. Good answer. That would, in that case, be some version of Green Bay, Los Angeles, Seattle. Packers, Saints, Packers, Bucks. Anybody? Rams. Let's see. Vikings, NFC South winner. See, that's probably the easier matchup. I think anyone at home. Always route I would go. Ecuador man AOG. Ben Johnson available or McCarthy in your opinion? I think Ben Johnson is clearly a better offensive mind. I think the things he's doing is way better. What's also noteworthy and interesting, I suppose, is the things that make you a great head coach and the things that make you a great offensive coordinator. There's not a one-to-one overlap. Like that Venn diagram contains some overlap, but it's not the same. And the things that make us like Ben Johnson as a head coach candidate are not the things that are going to make him a great head coach. You kind of saw it in that NFLPA survey. That was like, who are the best coordinators? It's all players coaches. That's who won. It was all players coaches. That's why Kellen Moore and Brian Schottenheimer are on that list. They're all players coaches. So I think I'd rather have Ben Johnson. I'm also acknowledging we've never seen Ben Johnson as a head coach. He might be bad, but I'm going to gamble on the better offensive mind because in the end, the good offensive mind, I'm not going to keep him. You saw it in Detroit, right? Dan Campbell's been a great head coach. Got to replace Ben Johnson after this year. From Mark, considering Cook is a free agent, our Mets are great. Only one team, Niners stand on our way. HL and Detroit are good teams, but we have poor pass defense, which are good for us. I would agree. Again, I think the issue here is the idea of Dalvin Cook. The Dalvin Cook we saw last year and in previous years, and the current guy are very different football players. Like, Dalvin Cook is breaking far fewer tackles than Tony Pollard is, and Pollard is now a big reason why his numbers are poor is because the O-line's not doing a great job of creating holes. Their play styles are actually fairly similar, and they aren't calling the plays that maximize those two play styles. Like, I don't think it's a great fit, and I had some interest in Cook in the offseason, and that went the wrong direction because, hey, and that's not playing well. Like, it's been kind of ugly. I do think NFC playoff picture-wise, I want that 2 seed. Niners scare me. I don't think you can beat them. I would love to be wrong on that front. But if I can avoid them for as long as possible, there we go. That helps me. Tyler Madden, $5. Will Dallas pull a Philly and draft the whole Michigan squad this year? Probably not. Though they did, of course, take 2 guys last year. How would that draft go? You'd take, they don't have a great first-round option necessarily. Chris Jenkins is probably getting more of a day 2 player. You could take Blake Corum again, though, in like the 3rd round, which I actually think is a pretty solid idea. I'd love to get like Will Johnson next year. That'd be fun at corner. But, McCarthy, if he goes pro, it means he's going to be an early pick. He ain't going to get to you. So, but it's fun, though, Tyler. It's fun. Chris B., Rams can't stop our offense. That's why I don't care. The Rams are playing much better than what we saw last time. I think it's really weird for a lot of this fan base to seemingly be scared of playing a team that you beat by 23 at home. Did we just forget that happened? Look, they are playing well. I get that, but come on, give me the home games. Give me the home games. Take care of business, or else we'll make some firings. Like this being scared mindset. I'm not a fan of. Let's talk NFL Week 18 here on the Cowboys Report. The Dallas Cowboys are 13-point favorites, and that line might ebb and flow closer to kickoff. There's been some growing buzz out of Landover, Maryland, that, hey, maybe the Commanders, some of their key veterans won't play in the final regular season game. Nearly being a full 2-score favorite on the road doesn't happen very often. The Commanders, they're going to fire Ron Rivera, I would assume, on Black Monday. And Dallas should clinch the NFC East with a win against Washington. Now, the Cowboys Injury Report breaks down like this. Now, again, as a reminder, we filmed this before Saturday when it goes out. So the description, the comments will have the full, final, updated version. I think good news on Rico Dowdle was full on Thursday, heading in the right direction. Dorance Armstrong is not. You might play it safe with him and make him inactive and maybe give Junior Fehoko his first active playing time, or at least give more Sam Williams playing time. I think Hankins heading in the correct direction, limited on Wednesday and Thursday, so barring setbacks, I think we're going in the right direction there. Might be on a pitch count. Don't anticipate Tyler Smith being able to play. Wanye Thomas, Malik Hooker, Chuma Adoga, and Chauncey Golston all getting sick. Right as a chat sports illness comes through again. Go figure with the Dallas office, how that works out. We'll see how they progress, but I would lean towards them being able to go. So will the Cowboys cover that massive spread against the Commanders? Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Let's talk matchups to watch. Number one, and I told us on the earlier preview, we're going to wait and see who the Commanders announce the quarterback. It will be Sam Howell, the chaos merchant himself and one of the most turnover-prone quarterbacks in football. All the fuss about, Dak's turnovers was never an issue, has been one for Sam Howell. He's got a lot of passing yards this season and a lot of turnovers as well. He has been a bit of a interception chaos machine. He'll make some big plays through the air, but he holds the ball forever. His supporting cast is not great in terms of, balancing things from that perspective and having, the right moments of maximizing him. And Eric Bieniemy's a good offensive mind, but he makes a lot of mistakes in terms of just having a quick game competency, which is great news for Dallas. They take advantage of that. I would like to see them take advantage of Sam Howell and maybe get one more pick six this week. Kind of tying into that, matchup number 2 is the Dallas defensive line versus the Commanders' offensive line. Micah has not gotten to 14 sacks yet in his NFL career. He wants it this week. And the Commanders' offensive line is still a bit nicked up. Charles Leno's on IR from the last time these two teams played. It's Cornelius Lucas, it's Sadiq Charles, Nick Gates, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley. It's not nearly as bad of an offensive line as the sack numbers might otherwise indicate, but it is a offensive line that you should be able to beat. And Micah made the joke about he's going to jump off two times this week. Don't do that, Micah. Let's not create bad habits, but he wants more sacks this year because he wants to get over that 13 hump that he's been on the past 2 seasons. He's had a tremendous amount of pressure success, etc. But I know Micah wants some more impact plays against a Commanders team that this defense thinks they should be able to have some success against. So what is your confidence level in beating the Commanders? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. It's the pinned comment. If the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and go vote. Number 3 matchup is the left guard against the Washington Commanders defensive line. Now, I will make note, Jonathan Allen is a bit banged up right now, which is important to consider because he's a big part of that defensive line. Again, I hope this is a freezing cold take when it comes out on Saturday. I don't think Tyler Smith will play. Mike McCarthy made the comment of, got to see something on Saturday for him to go. And every time that thing's a 99% rate in his time in Dallas, that guy does not end up playing because they're not going to be able to go on Saturday. / if this were a playoff game, you'd be pushing a lot harder. Currently, you're probably going to be a little bit more patient there. So left guard's going to be key because that's where the Commanders' talent is. It's at defensive tackle. Now, again, Allen is banged up, battling a knee injury. In a meaningless Week 18 game, he might not go, which would mean more Phidarian Mathis. We'll see how much Daron Payne plays. And then Cowboys legend John Ridgeway, also on the Commanders. He's a bit nicked up, but he's fine. He's going to play through it. Number 4 matchup is the Cowboys defensive backs against the Commanders wide receivers. Remember, the last time these two teams played, the Commanders actually had some success through the air, although it didn't lead to anything in the end because they were turnover-prone merchants. Deron Bland, Stephon Gilmore, Jordan Lewis, all going to play. They've all played pretty well. By the way, quick aside, the play of Jordan Lewis has been very impressive as of late, especially in run support. I think that's been a big reason why they've been better against the run the last 2 weeks. We'll come back to Bland, by the way. Is worth mentioning Curtis Samuel is a bit dinged up right now, battling a hamstring injury. Terry McLaurin is one of the better receivers in the NFL, and he would be better if his quarterback wasn't so inconsistent. His numbers against Dallas have never actually been that good, though. Now, if you want to go to this game, got to use Game Time. $20 off your first purchase when you use promo code CowboysChat at GameTime.co. And maybe more feasibly, since I know many of you live in Dallas or in the area, if you want to go to the playoff game or games, make sure you're using Game Time. Last-minute tickets right up to the start of the event. Exclusive deals, flash deals, sponsor deals for not just sports, but concerts, comedy, theater, and more. So download the Game Time app today. Create your account and use code CowboysChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but create your account and use code COWBOYSCHAT for $20 off your first purchase. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. We appreciate Game Time sponsoring us here at the Cowboys Report. Number 5 matchup is the narrative battle. Cowboys on the road, right? And they got some revenge to take out because last year, Week 18 on the road, they were absolutely terrible. Then they managed to kind of dial things up and have better success against Tampa before falling apart against the 49ers, unfortunately. Knock out the road narrative. Take care of business on the road. Don't kind of fart around and have to play longer than you need to in this one. All right, players to watch. First up is Jake Ferguson. Now, Cam Curl's banged up right now. By the way, so too is Kendall Fuller at corner because this is a Commanders team kind of on the brink. Ferguson is 8 yards away from a 700-catch season. I think there are times I wish they would use him more. There are even times opposing teams try to limit him. If it's not land they're taking away, they're trying to take away Ferguson. I think he can have success. Doesn't this game against the Commanders feel like a Dak seam ball to Ferguson game? I think it does. Now, we will have you covered on all the Dallas Cowboys news. Hit that sub button, and we'll be live, of course, for the Cowboys game and playoff games as well, right here on the channel. Number 4 player to watch, Donovan Wilson. I don't think it's an accident that the last 3 weeks, when the defense has played better, with some exceptions in those games, Donovan Wilson's played better. His last 3 weeks are his 3 weeks with the most tackles this season. He has kind of upped his play the last few games. And I think that matters. If you want to stop the run, you need one of your box guys to make plays against it. And that really hadn't been Damone Clark. I think Donovan Wilson and Jordan Lewis have stepped up in that area. Other defender, how about DaRon Bland? The last time DaRon Bland played against the Commanders was his worst game of the year until he played the Seahawks, but he set the pick mark, and that's all we cared about. DaRon Bland has not been targeted that much the last, really since the Seahawks game, frankly. Some game script stuff as well, but not a lot from that perspective. Meanwhile, against the Commanders, Curtis Samuel, 4 targets, 3 catches, 51 yards. Samuel played really well. He had 100 yards, first time that happened all year. Dotson had some success. Scary Terry did not. There was also a check down to Antonio Gibson that was part of that. So will DaRon Bland get another pick 6? A for yes and B for no. Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Sure would be nice to get one more. Put that record even further away, but get your predictions in for me in the comments. All right, number 2 player to watch is Tony Pollard. Pollard's numbers are not nearly what they need to be this year. Now, he's probably going to get to 1,000 yards this season. The efficiency has gone significantly down. I actually think his biggest issues have been as kind of more some pass protection stuff. But since week 9, some great stats here from John Owning. These are all PFF numbers, by the way. Yards after contact this year. Since week 9, among the 45 qualifying backs, he's actually 8 out of 45. In missed tackles forced, he's 3rd of 45. But in yards before contact, he's 36 of 45. Now, I'm not absolving Pollard of blame for this running game. I want to make that clear. This is also why I don't want to pay backs, period, because their success is so dependent on the supporting cast around them. And the scheme in the offensive line supporting cast has not been very good. And my issue is, I don't think that's going to change this year. The final player to watch, an alien! Also, please note I wrote player, not person. Brandon Aubrey has a chance to set a record this year. He is 35 of 35, knock on wood, in made field goals this year. The record is 37, held by Mike Vanderjagt, if you guys remember him, the idiot kicker. I think that was him. He could settle for 2 or 3. Would that be surprising if he had 2 or 3 chances? I would not be. So we'll see if Aubrey, our alien, get it in the comment section, can set that mark. The pin poll today was, do you want to add Dalvin Cook? Well, you can't. Dalvin Cook going to join the Baltimore Ravens. I think this would end up being a practice squad move since he went through on waivers. So Dalvin Cook dream is now dead. If you had that dream, I remain unbothered. He might be better than Melvin Gordon. Maybe. Ravens dealing with some of their own injury issues, at this stage at the running back core, but I don't think he's going to take very many snaps away from guys like Justice Hill and Gus Edwards. Might be better than Melvin Gordon, who's got 3.3 yards per carry this year. About it. Crispy, I completely understand if that we can get worse, but if McCarthy fails again, you got to risk it to get more upside. 12 wins is nice, but no playoff wins I'm tired of. I would agree. I don't know if Jerry would feel the same way, but I think the sentiment is totally understandable, Chris. Lone Wolf, if we're the 2 seed, who do we want in the wild card? I think the worst team left is the Vikings. After that, give me the Saints. Oh, maybe the Saints are worse. Saints could sneak in. Help is needed here, to be clear. After that, Green Bay, Seattle, pretty close for me. And then definitely, I think Rams are the best wild card team out there. Robert Duran, I only want Cook for depth. This came in before the news that Cook went to the Ravens, by the way. I only want Cook for depth for the right price. Run game is beyond Pollard. We had a game without our second string back. You never know. Again, I think practice squad depth would have been fine, but I don't think Dallas had much interest. And clearly, I think Cook and the Ravens were working behind the scenes on this one. That was 20 minutes. Very quick. Very quick. Crispy, get to the NFC game against the Niners and roll the dice. I agree, Chris. Abja Pawar, let Dak deal. Stay aggressive, and we will win this game. This is probably a game in which you don't have to be aggressive and you can still win, but you should also be aggressive and just get the game out over. This game should be over by halftime, and we're talking about when are you going to sit your starters. That's what we should be thinking about. Abja Pawar, has Dak improved a lot under McCarthy than Jason Garrett? Couple of notes here. In general, I think we give a little bit too much credit to the in-season coaches for quarterback development. A lot of that stuff is done on the player's own time. You can think about the time that, Dak had spent working with away from the team when he's doing the 3D QB stuff. And you can go back and ask Josh Allen, for example. Josh Allen took his big jump forward when COVID hit. And he couldn't do anything else other than work on his footwork and stuff. And that's when he put in a tremendous amount of time, and Allen gets all the credit in the world for that. So I do think, in general, I think the McCarthy offense and everything is better for Dak than Jason Garrett. I'm not sure how high of a bar that is, and the coaching staffs do get credit. So, yeah, I think McCarthy's better than Garrett. It's more of a question of, is it enough for me? Robert Duran, never mind. F. Dalvin Cook. We got little 42. They did put Deuce Vaughn on IR, unfortunately, which I think was kind of a fake injury. They clearly think Rico Dowdle is going to be good to go. No loop today because the Dalvin Cook news was part of it, and that's just not going to work. So don't miss any of our other Cowboys news. We'll kind of refilm that Dalvin Cook portion, so you can stay tuned for that video on demand. Hit that sub button for more free Dallas Cowboys football videos.